Yeah, hello. I'm Brenton now from Touchstream, and thanks for joining us here today. We're here to talk about the video cloud workflows, obviously a very hot topic here at NAB, and the elephant in the room, end-to-end monitoring. So with cloud workflows, everything's changed. We don't still have the same hardware approach that we've been used to in the past available to us. So we have to have some fresh thinking. Okay, so just a little bit about monitoring and what the issues are. The big problem is do your customers get angry because of a poor experience? And this is obviously a big thing these days. And the tech epidemic for video is are your customers suffering from buffer rage? And so there's been lots of surveys and lots of statistics done, but 51% of people have suffered some sort of major outage with their particularly live streaming. And of course, this is the thing that is making people very angry. Now the problem is, and has always been, where is the problem? What's causing this? Is it in live streaming? You've got everything: signal acquisition, your encode, your package, origin, possibly DRM, CDN. There's a whole path of delivery that has to work all the time, every second of every day. Now, the identification of the problem, if you come from a more broadcast background, or even the new on-premise sort of OTT workflows, there's a lot of points you can touch, and you can do that with physical probes and great things like that. But as I said earlier, with everything moving towards the cloud, you lose some of that visibility, or you lose your traditional ways to do that. And what you really need is visibility of the right data and in the right way. So again, obviously, what we're trying to protect against is this 33% of people abandon stuff when they've had a poor experience. OTT in general has a 19% churn rate, and 1/3 of that is due to a poor QoS. So these end up being really big numbers and can cost you a lot of money in both your brand reputation, in people complaining and wanting wanting their money back. There's an interesting statistic about that as well, is that a lot of people forget about is the cost of servicing a call from someone ringing up your help service desk and servicing that call just to answer the phone and take basic details is $12. So if you have 100,000 people watching an event and it's bad and you have to service all those calls, that actually is an additional cost. So just the basic summary of the numbers again, of why people abandon it. And so what is it we're really trying to protect here? It's money, and it's money revenue, or money that lost revenue, money you have to pay out to fix things, money you have to service calls. So let's look at the data side and what we do as a Touchstream in content availability monitoring. So in our architecture, we're a cloud-based provider, so a cloud native, and this. I get the laser doesn't work very well on the TV. The central system here is totally built in Amazon, and then all our polars are distributed around the internet. So we can do a very specific part of monitoring. Most importantly, the CDN monitoring and the origin monitoring. This is our normal approach to monitoring, and this gives you a really good insight into how things are working for those last couple of steps in the delivery chain. And those global POPs that we talk, this is our current distribution of them. They're all over the world, so we can do things from any geography. And this is basically a customer-driven thing. So wherever we've got customers, we build new infrastructure to be able to service them. And that's great stuff for doing that part of monitoring. But what we've actually now developed due to the adoption, and the rapid adoption of cloud workflows, is an end-to-end view. So what the idea of this is that we're doing all of this monitoring, and with ABR monitoring here at Origin, that was traditional. Now we're doing the cloud one. So if you've got a cloud packager, we can actually enable monitoring on that packager. And then the idea is that you can see that you've got problems here on your CDNs, but the real problem's at your Origin. And so this is what's been driving our idea of how to visualize cloud workflows in a way that makes sense to the OTT provider. We've worked very closely with some of our biggest customers, and this is the way they wanted us to do it. And so it's actually working out very well, because you can actually see things failing. But we only do a certain amount of monitoring, and there's lots of other things that other points you can monitor, like there's like there's physical encoders, there's signal acquisition, there's lots of other points. Now, and there's lots of other things you can do. So that's back this way. And at the other end, there's all the great stuff you can do with video perceptual monitoring. So is there black screen detection and MOS scoring, audience metrics like from the big players like Conviva and Nice People at Work. All of that data, all in different tools. So our vision for our next release, we just released that one today or yesterday at NAB. Our next release, we're actually going to incorporate external data sources. So now we will be able to give you a true end-to-end picture. But this is not our monitoring, this is other people's monitoring. So you've probably already got some of these things. You've probably got a bunch of disparate tools that will allow, that actually get all this data, but most of them are, you don't want to have to look at 20 different screens, and a lot of them don't have really simple red-green, is it good or bad? Because when a problem occurs, you want to know, as we explained before, this one was the Origin problem, and these ones are CDN problems. But the interesting point with this is if you incorporate the audience metrics, you know that this one has caused your audience to completely fail. But these ones here, you've got some load balancing incorporated into it. There's quite a few load balancers these days, and basically they've taken the failing CDN out of the picture. Whereas down here, it hasn't worked. So your audience is being affected. So and this is what we're doing by incorporating other tools. We can't do all of this ourselves. We can visualize it for you. But we think that all of the data coming from your many monitoring tools needs to be brought together in one place so that you can very quickly pinpoint, and if, for example, if the signal had gone bad, the acquisition had gone bad, something had happened here. And we actually had someone where that happened to quite recently. It was a live event out in the field, and it was taking a feed straight off a camera, and the battery on the camera was sitting there. There wasn't someone, very closely monitoring it, and the battery went flat. And so they lost the signal from the camera. Now, their signal acquisition monitoring did pinpoint it, but it was a different system. So that's one of the things that's driven us to say, you need to monitor this point as well with other tools. We know, as I said, we don't do it all, but other tools, so that when it goes red all the way out here, all this path back to here has gone red. So you don't waste your time. You don't waste your precious technical resource time in trying to pick where the right point is to go and figure out what the problem is. So that's our vision for end-to-end monitoring. Just a quick. This is our sort of target list. So we've got a lot of big pay TV and big OTT providers, and so we went to them, all our biggest customers, and said, what is it you use? And so we came to a short list of these are the initial integrations, and obviously they're the most popular ones for the bigger players. So we will be integrating all of these tools in the next quarter into our ecosystem, so that you can actually get that monitoring from a true end-to-end perspective. So that's kind of the gist of it. Did anyone have any questions on that? Of course, we do have a booth, 9703, SU 9703. So if you wanted to talk some more about it after the event, please come down and see us at our booth just next to BitMovin. They've got a big sign you can find. So that's where we are, down next to BitMovin. Great. Well, thanks very much for your time. I hope you found it interesting. Okay. Thank you.